students, welcome to Unified Council Olympiads, previous year questions of NSTSE. So I hope you must be, thinking about that how to perform well in the exam, how to score good marks. So basically in this session, I'm going to give you the all relevant solutions of the previous year questions. And also I'm going to share few tips and I hope those tips would be useful for you in your next exam and you'll score good marks. So what we are waiting for, come on, let's get started and let's learn about it. So let's begin with the previous year questions of your subject physics and let's see that which all questions you have attempted right and where you made certain mistake. So you know that students, they learn from mistake. Not only students, everybody, all of us learn from our mistakes. So let's study them carefully and let's learn the trick and the tips how to attempt paper better. Okay, so here the question says, two electromagnets P and Q are placed and separated at some distance between them. So here is the figure. You have two electromagnets P and Q and they are separated from each other through certain distance. Okay. Three compasses are placed between them. Yes, you can see that three compasses are placed between them such that they show deflection due to the flow of current in P and Q. Then the current passing through P and Q, and you have few options. So before we move further, I would really like you to introduce you to the new terms. That is, first let's talk about electromagnet. See, electromagnet is something which a substance which starts behaving as a magnet when you pass current through it. Okay, see, we know that magnet has got that property to attract things. You must have played it with it also. So electromagnets are basically, they are the substances which are not naturally magnet, but yes, you can magnetize them. Like if you pass electric current through them, these substances become or behave like a magnet. So that is the reason they are called as electromagnet. Means start behaving as a magnet when you pass electric current. So we have got two electromagnets here. Okay, and now wherever the magnetic field is present, and if you place compass needle, we know that compass needle shows deflection in the presence of magnetic field. So whenever there is some area which has got some magnetic field, compass will show the deflection which will indicate that yes, magnetic field is present here. Okay, so here between P and Q, we have three compasses present. We have three compass needles and you can see that they are showing some sort of deflection. So that means P and Q are acting as an electromagnet. That means they are the current is passed through them and they have a magnetic field around them. That is why the needle is showing deflection. Now here we need to pinpoint that current passing through them. Now see, if the compass needle deflects in the same direction, I'll write here, if the compass needle deflects in the same direction, which is not seen in this case, you can see that in compass needle 1 and 3, the deflection is opposite. So when the needle deflects in the same direction, which shows that the current passing through them is in same direction, But here in this case, you can see that deflection is opposite. So that is clear cut that in P and Q electromagnets, the current direction is not same. The current direction is different. Okay. The second thing, if we talk about that which out of the two has got more magnetic field. So is the magnetic field is similar for both of them, or any one out of them has higher magnitude of magnetic field? Now let me tell you, to judge that, we have another magnetic compass placed between them, that is 2. You can see that this compass is also showing deflection, but it is showing deflection which is similar to the deflection shown by 3. The compass needle 2 and 3, they are showing similar deflection, which indicates that this Q has got high magnitude of magnetic field, which is forcing this compass needle 2 to show the similar deflection as shown by compass 3. So here let's read the options now. Option A says the current passing through P and Q is in same direction and equal magnitude. No. If the direction would have been same, then the deflection would have been same. So this A is wrong. It is in the opposite direction. Yes, it is in opposite direction, right? And equal in magnitude. No. If it would have been equal, then why this compass 2 is pointing in the same direction as the compass 3, which is near to Q? Okay, let's see. C is in the opposite direction and magnitude of current P in P is greater than Q. No. See, if the magnitude of current P would be greater, then the magnetic field produced by it would be of greater magnitude and the two would have been pointed down. So again, no, because whatever magnetic field is produced by P and Q is just because of the strength of the current passed through them. So the one which has more strength of current would have strong magnetic field. So option D is correct because it is in the opposite direction, deflections are opposite, and the magnitude of current Q is greater. The reason being the magnetic strength produced by it is more. That is why magnetic compass is also pointing in the same direction as the compass 3, which is placed just near to Q. So here which one is the right answer? Option D is the right answer. I hope you understood that how to find it next time. Okay, next question says hot water poured into 4 containers is shown below. Okay, hot water is poured into 4 containers. Black container, white container, silver container, okay, red container. Which container will cause the temperature of the water to drop at the fastest rate? Okay, now let's recall a few concepts of physics. Okay, you know that what is temperature basically? Temperature represents degree of hotness or coldness of a body. Degree of hotness or coldness of a body. This is what is temperature. And we measure by temperature, you all know, by thermometer. We have lab thermometer also, we have clinical thermometer also. Okay, now if I say hot water, that means its temperature is high. Its temperature is high. Okay, and we are pouring it in different containers, and the difference between the containers is what you can see from this question, that is in the colors. Now if I talk about colors, that how these colors are related to temperature, now let me tell you, you must have heard that people say don't wear black clothes during summers because you feel more hot. Why they say? The reason being, black color is that color which absorb all the radiations falling on it. What all radiations you make it fall on black, it will absorb all the radiations. So we can say that black is a perfect absorber. Black is the perfect absorber. Okay, but white, silver, red, they absorb radiations but up to certain limit. They don't absorb so much as it is done by black. Okay, so that means a black one is absorbing all the radiations. Okay, the one which is good absorber, you need to remember this, is the perfect emitter also, or you can say is the best emitter also. So if you take water, hot water into it, then all the radiations which are absorbed, but these radiations are given, like the heat energy is given also perfectly out to the surroundings. Okay, because the radiations that it absorbs somehow gets converted into heat and it radiates heat in the surroundings. Now if it is radiating heat in the surroundings, obviously hot water after some time will cool up, or you can say that the temperature will get lowered. So it is seen that the heat radiated to the surrounding is much more by black as compared to these light colors, white, silver or red. That is the reason the temperature of the water will drop at the fastest rate in beaker A. Therefore, option A is the correct answer. Okay, next question. The time taken by the bob of the pendulum to go from one extreme to another extreme is 0.8 seconds. Okay, so it has been given, you have a pendulum, okay, we know that it's a mean position and this one is a extreme position, let's make it, and this is also another extreme position. So it is said that the time taken, this is bob, so time taken by a bob of the pendulum to go from one extreme position to another extreme position is 0.8 second. That means the time it is taking to go from here to here, let's say from A to B, is 0.8 second. And we know that pendulum oscillates. It goes from one extreme to another extreme and then returns, like it keeps on oscillating like this. Now what we need to do is, we need to find the frequency of oscillation of the pendulum. We need to find the frequency. Now if I say frequency, what does it mean? Frequency means number of oscillation produced in 1 second. Produced in 1 second. Here it is talking about a complete oscillations, number of complete oscillations, and one complete oscillation will be, that is from A to mean position to B and then back from B to mean position to A. This will be one complete oscillation. So here we need to find frequency, that means the number of complete oscillations in 1 second. Now here the time which is given is of half oscillation. The time given is half oscillation because it is from only one extreme to another extreme, but it is not returning back. So that means this time is 0.8 second. So if you'll see, the time for the complete oscillation would be double to it. So we can say that it will be 1.6 second. Okay, now to find frequency, how we are going to find it? So frequency and time period, they are related to each other. Frequency is inversely proportional to, I'll write it again, please ignore this. Frequency is inversely proportional to time period, right? So we can write that frequency is inversely proportional to time. This is the relation. So we can put the value of t as 1.6, and if you will solve for it, then you will get your answer. You will get your answer. And the answer in this case is, if you will solve for 1.1.6, it will come out to be 0.625, and the unit for the frequency is obviously hertz. So the correct answer is option C. I hope you understood. So this is how you have to solve. Okay, another question. Given below in the box are few words related to the statements. Okay, we have few words. Let me introduce the words to you. Current, nichrome element, tube light, heat, melt, tungsten, CFL, fuse, overload. Okay, let's look for the statements. First statement says, higher the flow of current, greater is the dash produced. See, let me tell you, when current flows, current produces heating effect also. So more is the current, more heat is produced, because the after effects of current is it produce magnetic effect also, it produce heating effect also. But here in this case we have option heat. So higher the flow of current, greater is the heat produced. Next, the coil of wire in electric heater is called dash. You know that electric heater, like the work of electric heater to supply heat or to increase the temperature of its wherever it is placed. So the coil of electric heater is made up of element. It is made up of element because this element is specially designed, it heats up, it has got low resistance, so more heat is produced and it is able to heat the surroundings. Okay, another, when the current flowing exceeds the safety limit, the fuse wire will. I hope you all know about fuse. Fuse is a safety device which prevent fire, or you can say which protect us from fire that may cause when the current exceeds the safety limit. So fuse has got a wire in it which is called as fuse wire, and the property of this fuse wire is that it has got very low melting point. So whenever current exceeds a certain limit, heat produces more, then due to that heat, this wire, because of its low melting point, melts and the circuit breaks up and it prevents you from the fire. So basically fuse wire will melt. So the correct answer is going to be melt. Another statement, dash is used to make the filament of the bulb. See, bulb, you know that the bulb filament has got special properties. That is, it has got high resistance, so that it can produce it can convert more energy, more the current into light and heat. It has got high resistance, and also it has got high melting point, so that it doesn't get melt. So basically dash is used to make the filament of the bulb, that is tungsten. It is made up of tungsten. Another question, heat energy produced by glowing bulb can be minimized by, the heat energy which is produced by the glowing bulb, okay, can be, yes, minimized by using CFLs, that is compact fluorescent lamps. They are energy savers basically. So that means here the correct answer is going to be option A, because 1 matches with 5, 2 matches with 3, 3 matches with this 6, and so A is the right answer. So I hope you got it. So do not get confused in these kind of questions. Try to attempt one by one, recall the concept, try to relate it, and you will get the right answer. Okay, another question says, two students were asked to plot a distance time graph for the motion of a car. Okay, distance time graph for the motion of the car, given below in table X and Y. So you have table X and Y, the data is given, and we need to plot a graph in response to this data. Okay, so let's look here. Before we move ahead, I would like to tell you, we know that what is motion. I hope you all know. When a body changes its position with respect to surroundings or a stationary object or a reference point, it is said to be in motion. Motion is of two types, uniform motion and non-uniform motion. Uniform motion and non-uniform motion. Now, uniform motion is a type of motion when body covers equal distance in equal intervals of time. When a body covers equal distance in equal intervals of time. And for uniform motion, the graph is straight line because the body is covering equal distance in equal intervals of time. Non-uniform is that when the body is covering unequal distance in equal intervals of time, and for that the graph is parabolic. The graph is not straight line, it is parabolic. Now here we have two datas. Let's make out whether the data is in accordance with uniform motion or non-uniform motion. So here distance given is in meter and time is in minutes. So when the time is 0, distance moved is 0. Okay. When time changed to 2 minutes, the distance moved at 10 meters. Then after intervals of 2 minutes, the distance increased by 10 meters. Okay, because it became 20. Again, when the time difference is 2 minutes, it exceeded by 2 minutes, again the distance 10 meter. Same, you can make out 10 meter, and here the difference is same, that is 2 minutes. So that means it is uniform motion because in every 2 minutes body is covering 10 meters. So yes, this shows uniform motion data. Now let's look for Y. When time is 0 minutes, distance moved is 0. Okay. Time 1 minute, distance moved is 5. 2, 10, 3, 15. Okay. So that means after every interval of 1 minute, the distance moved every time is 5 meter. As you can see that the difference is 5 meter. So again, this is a graph which the data which is in accordance with uniform motion. And we know that for uniform motion, graph is always straight line. So we need to tell the distance time graph plotted by two students x and y is true for table. It is true for both of them. So the correct answer is option A. I hope you got it. How I said that, how I came to the conclusion that A is the right answer. Because if the distance covered is equal in equal intervals of time, then the motion is said to be uniform and the graph obtained is a straight line graph. Okay, next question says Celsius thermometer and Fahrenheit thermometer are put in a hot bath. Okay, you have a hot bath, let's say, and we have put both the thermometers in it. Let's say degree Celsius also and degree Fahrenheit also. The reading of Fahrenheit thermometer is just 3 times the reading of Celsius. Okay, what is the temperature of the water bath? We know that Celsius and Fahrenheit, they are interrelated by the relation this. We know this. Here in this case, we are not aware of the Celsius temperature, like the temperature that we are getting on a Celsius scale. So let's assume it to be X. And for Fahrenheit, it is 3 times the reading of we are obtaining on this thing, degree Celsius scale. Now putting the values here, let's say C put as X, 5 is equal to F minus F is 3x. Let's put it 3x. Okay, 32 by 9. Now solve for it. You can solve it like this by cross multiplying it. This is minus. Now when you will solve for it, you will get your answer. I hope you all know how to solve for it. You will get your answer as option B, that is 26.67 degree Celsius. So this is how you have to, by using the relation between degree Celsius and Fahrenheit, you can solve for this question. Okay, another question. Nichrome is used as a heating element as it has. We have already discussed that nichrome is used as a heating element because heating element has certain properties. The properties like that it should have, high melting point so that it doesn't melt at high temperature. It should have high resistance so that more and more, electric energy is converted into heat and light. And also it should have high value of coefficient of linear expansion. That means it doesn't get expanded. So basically here the options say high resistance, high melting point, high resistance, low melting point. No. Low resistance, high melting point, low. So the correct answer is option A. Option A is the right answer. The nichrome, which is used as a heating element, has got these properties. That is why it is best suited for it. Okay, next question. Out of two clocks P and Q, we have two clocks, okay, P and Q. Clock P has an hour and minute hand. I'll write here. Clock P has got two hands, hour hand and minute hand. Otherwise we know that all the clocks, they have got three hands. Hour hand, minute hand and second hand. But in clock P, you can make out second hand is missing. Q1 has an hour hand. Okay, it has got hour hand and minute hand, and it has got the another one also, second hand also. Okay, fine. So it's a true clock, we can say, because it will give us the information about the seconds, minutes and also the hours. Okay, now what we need to make out? Which of the following statements is correct for these clocks? Okay. Option A says a time interval of 30 seconds can be measured by clock P. No, it can't be measured because it doesn't have that second hand. A time interval of 30 seconds cannot be measured by clock Q. Again, no, because it can measure because it has got second hand. Time interval of 5 minutes can be measured by both. Yes, because both of them has got minute hand. Okay. Time interval of 4 minutes 10 seconds can be measured by clock P. Again, no, because it can measure 4 minutes, but it cannot measure 10 seconds because it doesn't have second hand. So here the correct statement is only one, that is option C. Option C is the correct one. Okay, next question. A girl heated 4 rods of identical sizes. Okay, girl took 4 rods and heated it, and those rods were of identical sizes, but they were made up of different materials. Okay, let's recall the materials as W, X, Y, Z. She recorded the time taken for each rod to reach a temperature of 60 degrees Celsius, and this observation is given in the form of graph, as you can see here. So the time is plotted against this axis, and these are the different materials. Now, we have already discussed temperature is basically a degree of hotness or coldness. It measures the degree of hotness or coldness. And we also know that different materials have got different conductivity, heat conductivity, or you can say different thermal conductivity. Different materials, they have got different thermal conductivity. There are few things which becomes which are good conductor. We can write here, we have certain things which are good conductor. That means they conduct heat well, or you can say when you heat it, they get heated quickly. And there are few which do not conduct heat well. They are called as poor conductors. So when you heat them, they take time to get heated, very, very, very much time to get heated. So we can say that they are poor conductors. So obviously the time taken by good conductor to get heated would be less. Time required would be less. More is the good conductor, lesser time it will take. And if I talk about poor conductor, they are going to take more time to get heated by same temperature of same, and even the sizes are same. So here we are heating all of them of temperature 60 degrees Celsius. We have tried to make their temperature 60 degrees Celsius, but they are made up of different materials. Now the time taken by Y is the lesser one, so that means it's a good conductor. After that comes X, and then we have Z, and the last one which took lot of time to reach the same temperature, that is 60 degrees Celsius, is W. So we can say that out of these rods, the poorest one is W, because it took maximum time to get heated by same temperature, that is 60 degrees Celsius. So here the correct answer would be option C. Okay, next question. In an electric bell, when the key is closed, then we need to answer this. Option A says coil inside it behaves like an electromagnet. Armature is attracted towards the coil. Clapper strikes the gong and produces sound. All of the above. And this says all of the above. Now let me explain you about electric bell. See, this is electric bell. So what does it have? It has got electromagnet, a coil which starts behaving as an electromagnet when current is switched on. So when I say key is closed, that means switch is on. When I say key is open, that means no current is flowing because switch is off. This is battery, a source of current. Then you have a soft iron armature. There is a spring and also a hammer which strikes the gong. And due to which when hammer strikes the gong, the bell rings up. So when we switch on the battery, what happened? This coil acts as an electromagnet. That means it starts behaving as a magnet. It now has a property to attract things. It attracts soft iron armature towards it. And in doing so, what happened? When it is displaced towards the electromagnet, the hammer hits the gong and bell starts ringing. Bell starts to ring. So now let's look at the options again. So when the key is closed, coil inside it behaves like an electromagnet. True, it behaves as an electromagnet because current is passed and it starts behaving as a magnet, starts attracting. Armature is attracted towards the coil. Again true, because when a key is closed, it acts as an electromagnet, attracts armature. Clapper, or we can say hammer, strikes the gong. Yes, it does, and it produces sound. So here the correct answer is option D. Which one is correct? Option D, because all these things happen when the key is closed. So with this, we have come to an end. I hope you have understood all the physics questions thoroughly. So next time, do not make any mistake. Score good marks. And what all I can say, best of luck to all of you. Thank you. Okay, so the first question says, a non-metallic element is converted into compound X after a series of reactions. A little amount of X, when tested with blue litmus, it turns to red. X on complete reaction with another compound Y forms a product which does not respond to litmus test. I know many of you must be thinking that it is a complicated question, but let me tell you, these complicated questions can be simplified and easily, can be simplified very, very easily. Just what you should know is the tip and trick to do and attempt this question and get the answer right. So see how to do this. I'm going to split this complete question into small terms so that I can have few clues. A non-metallic element. So basically here we are talking about a non-metal which is an element. Okay. Is converted into compound X. Okay. After a series of reaction. So it is converted into compound X not by one reaction but series of reaction. Then it is said a little amount of X when tested with blue litmus it turns red. And I hope you all remember anything which turns blue litmus red is acidic in nature. So we have this clue now. Okay. X on complete reaction with another compound Y produce certain product, and it is said that this product form doesn't respond to litmus. Anything which doesn't respond to litmus is neutral. Another clue. Now see, so it is said that this non-metal which is an elemental form undergoes series of reaction and form compound X. So we have certain reactions and we have to arrange all the reaction in accordance of their occurrence. So first of all, what you can do is we can mark that in which reaction we have compounds participating as a reactant, or we have compound and element or two elements. Let's make out that. So here we have compound and element. Okay. Here we have two compounds. Here we have two compounds, and in this you have two elements. So definitely there are only two reactions which have the element as a reactant, and we are talking about the element which is non-metal. So here this element is combining with SO2 and you are getting SO3. Okay, oxygen is a non-metal. S plus O2 is SO2. So this one is correct. Now why this one is correct? The reason being it involves a non-metal, sulfur, which is non-metal, and here also oxygen is a non-metal, but you are getting SO2 and this SO2 is acting as a reactant for reaction P. So that is the reason this is going to be the first reaction to occur. After that, you will find the reaction in sequence. The reaction which contains SO2 as a reactant will be the second one. So that means P, because here in this SO2 is combining with O2 to form SO3. Okay. Now, we'll look for the reaction where SO3 is acting as a reactant. Obviously, it is R, where SO3 is reacting with water to form sulfuric acid. So, here we are getting a compound X. Now, how I came to know that the reaction stops here and this is compound X? Because it is acidic in nature, and our clue says that it turns blue litmus red because it is acidic. And we all know H2SO4 is sulfuric acid, that is king of chemicals. Now this X is reacting with another compound Y. So obviously this Q, because this is X and this is reacting with a compound KOH, and the product which is forming is potassium sulfate, and obviously it is neutral salt because it is formed of strong acid and a strong base. Whenever strong acid and base react, they neutralize their effect and you get a neutral salt which doesn't affect litmus. Okay. So therefore, now we can write the sequence S followed by P, then you have R, and finally we have Q. So the option which states this sequence would be the right answer. So that means option B is correct. Okay. So this way you have to look for the clues and then you will be able to reach the right answer easily. Okay, another question. A student took a mixture of sulfur powder and iron turnings. Okay, she could separate both of them with the help of magnet. Then she heated the mixture. So it is said a student took sulfur powder and iron turnings and mixed them. So obviously when she is simply mixing them, so she is getting a mixture. She is getting a mixture. And she can separate the mixture because all the mixtures can be separated into their components by certain methods. So here she can also separate by using magnet because iron is attracted easily by magnet. Now she heated the mixture. So when she heated the mixture, this should strike your mind that iron will combine with sulfur now to form iron sulfide. Because on heating, what will happen? Chemical reaction will take place. Chemical reaction is a chemical change in which you are getting a new substance. And here the new substance formed is a compound. And also we know that compound has its own identity. Its properties never depend upon the constituents which are reacting together. It entirely showed different properties. Okay. So after heating, she tried to separate the iron turnings. How? By using magnet, but she could not do so. Now, the question says that why she could do so? Because heating, and you have 4 options. So let's read the options also. So first option says that it results in the formation of new substance. Definitely yes. Because here the chemical reaction has taken place on heating and both combine to form iron sulfide, and chemical change always result in the formation of something new. So A is correct. Changes the nature of iron. So it is not attracted by magnet. False. It doesn't change the nature of iron. Results in evaporation of iron. Again no, because iron is a non-volatile substance. It doesn't evaporate. Melts the sulfur in which iron gets dissolved. Again no. So the correct answer here is in front of you. That is, we have option is A is the correct answer. So this way you'll find your answers very easily and very quickly. Okay, the another question, which products are formed due to neutralization reaction between calcium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid? So students, if you remember about neutralization reaction, you have to recall the concept every time when you see the question. Before reading the options, my tip is to recall the concept. Okay. So neutralization is basically a reaction which occurs between strong acid and a strong base, and you get neutral salt. Along with it you get water. Neutralization is also that reaction where the weak acid reacts with weak base. Again you get same products. Because as strong acid and strong base, or weak acid or weak base, they neutralize each other's effect. That is why you get a neutral salt. So now we have to do this neutralization reaction between calcium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid. So the first thing is to write their valencies. You have to learn their valencies thoroughly, then only you will be able to make the chemical formulas. So calcium hydroxide, the formula becomes CaOH whole twice. I hope you remember, we crisscross the valencies and we get the formula. Hydrochloric acid, I hope you all know, is HCl. Now what will you get? See, it is a reaction between two compounds. This is how they break up. Write their valencies. Now they will interchange their partners. This positive part will will react with the negative of the second, and you will get CaCl2. How? Simply write their valencies, crisscross, and you'll get the answer. HNOH, that means you'll get water. Now here, it's the time to look for the options. Option A say calcium oxide and water. So are we getting this? No, wrong answer. Calcium chloride and water. Yes, we got this. Third says calcium chloride hydrogen. No, we don't get hydrogen. Instead hydrogen you'll get water. Calcium carbonate, which is CaCO3 and water. Do we get this? No, not at all. So the correct answer here is option B. See how easily you got your answer. So this way you have to be smart enough to to simplify any sort of complicated question just by recalling the concept. Next question says, Rusting is a P process and it occurs in the presence of Q and R. It becomes S in presence of C water. Identify P, Q, R and S. So here in this question it is said that rusting is some sort of process, let's say P process. It occurs in the presence of something which is called as Q and R. And it becomes S in presence of C water. And we need to identify them. And we have the options given as A, B, C, D. So we need to identify correctly P, Q, R and S. Which option has got all four correct? Now let's talk about rusting first. You know that eating away of metal article is called as corrosion. I'll write here. Eating away of metal article is called as corrosion. So particularly corrosion in case of iron is referred to as rusting. We call it as rusting. Now what is rusting? That when iron comes in contact with moist air for prolonged time, then it develops reddish brown layer on its surface, which is actually Fe2O3.XH2O, and we call it as rust. So rust is chemically Fe2O3.XH2O. Now, and this reaction takes so much time to occur, maybe months or years to occur. So we can say that this reaction is quite slow in nature. It's a slow reaction. Now here it is said that rusting is a P process. Let's look for P first. Physical, is it a physical process? No, because here in this case chemical reaction is taking place. So it's a chemical change, not a physical change. So it's not a physical process, because physical process doesn't involve the formation of something new. Is it a slow process? Yes, it's a slow process. Is it a photochemical? Photochemical processes are those which in which the chemical reaction is occurring, or you can say a chemical change is taking place in the presence of light. So in case of rusting, light involvement isn't there. So it's again false. Biochemical, that means a chemical change which involves enzymes. Again, no. So the correct option is B. Now see, Q, R and S mentioned in the B option is also correct. So it occurs in the presence of Q and R, that is water and air. This is what we learned, moist air. And it becomes S in the presence of sea water. It fasten up because sea water contain lot of salts which speed up this rusting process. So hence option B is the correct answer. Okay, next question. Read the statements given below. Don't worry, we have statements and these are the statements. So let's read them first. Ozone layer protect us from sun's harmful ultraviolet radiation. Yes, it's correct. In atmosphere, we know that there is a layer called stratosphere which has a special layer that is ozone layer in it, which protect us from UV rays, that is ultraviolet radiations. It helps in preventing the rays coming into the, reaching to the earth, because ultraviolet rays are harmful to us. They may cause skin cancers, they may cause eye disorders. They are harmful to us in many ways. Okay, so ozone layer protected, prevent those rays from coming to earth. So that means this statement is correct. Ozone absorbs the ultraviolet radiations. Okay, they absorb ultraviolet and breaks down to oxygen. Yes, it breaks down to oxygen. Again, it's true. Ozone acts as a protective. Yes, because it is protecting us from harmful radiations. So we can say it is shielding us against UV rays. Again, correct. So what we need to do? We need to find the statement which is correct. So all three statements are correct. So correct answer is option D. Okay, next question. Read the table given. Where is the table? Here is the table. We need to identify correct color changes with the respective litmus papers. So basically this question is based on litmus test. So I hope you all know that litmus is an indicator. Litmus is an indicator. What are indicators? Indicators are those substances which bring about the change in their color or their smell when they are treated with acid or a base. So litmus is one of the color changing indicator, and it is natural indicator because it occurs naturally. It is obtained from lichens. Originally, the color of litmus is purple, but in lab when we use it as red litmus or blue litmus. It can be used to, test the given substance whether it is acidic or basic. Because when we treat base with litmus, it turns red litmus to blue. But if you treat base with blue litmus, it is going to show no change. Okay. And if you treat acid with litmus, it turns blue litmus red. Okay. And neutral substance doesn't affect litmus. So we can say that no change is seen. Now here in this table, you have got few samples and related to them, that how they behave with litmus, tick or cross is given. So we need to find the information which is correct. So amla juice. So amla juice is basically acidic in nature because it contains an acid, ascorbic acid. So acids we know turn blue litmus red. Okay, so it is turning blue litmus red, correct? Red, no effect on red litmus, again correct. So this information is correct. Now talking about the second option, sugar solution. Sugar solution, let me tell you, I think you all know the answer this. Sugar solution is neither acidic nor basic. It is neutral. So it will show no change in color. And here the information given is incorrect. Washing soda is Na2CO3, washing soda solution. It is particularly formed of NaOH and H2CO3, that is formed of strong base and weak acid. So because it is formed of strong base, therefore its nature is that it is basic in nature. Now the information given is bases turn red litmus blue, and here it is given that it turns blue litmus red. Information given is incorrect. Lime water, what is lime water? Lime water is CaOH whole twice, that is a base. So bases turn red litmus blue. So it is turning red litmus blue and not affecting blue. That means information given is correct. So out of this, option A states the correct information. So the correct answer is option A with correct information about the samples. Okay, next question. Bridges, ships, vehicles and other articles made up of iron may be rusted over a period of time, due to which their strength reduces and also affects our economy. Some methods to overcome the above problem are given below. So we know that all the articles which are made up of iron, after prolonged exposure to moisture, with time they get rusted, and also their strength reduces and it affects our economy too. So this problem can be overcome. How? By coating the iron articles with paint and grease. So before reading the option, let me recall the concept. See, iron when comes in contact with moisture, it develops reddish brown layer which is rust, and it is chemically Fe2O3.XH2. So anything which prevents prevents the contact of iron with moisture will be able to prevent rusting. Now when we are coating iron article with paint and grease, definitely it will prevent rusting because it will prevent the iron in coming in contact with moisture. Galvanizing the iron articles again will prevent rusting, because galvanizing means coating the iron with zinc layer. Coating the iron with zinc layer. Zinc when comes in contact with oxygen, it forms zinc oxide. And this layer which is formed zinc oxide is impermeable. It doesn't allow anything to enter into it. Therefore, the underlying iron remains prevented from rusting. Conversion of iron articles into steel. Yes, of course, because steel is an alloy of iron and it is resistant to corrosion. Treatment of iron articles with salts. No, because we have already studied that salts fasten up the rusting process. It doesn't prevent, rather it fasten up. So basically the correct methods to overcome rusting is 1, 2 and 3. So therefore, the correct answer is option C. Option C is the correct answer. Next question. A few substances are grouped from 1 to 4. Identify a substance that does not belong to the respective group, and we need to choose the correct option. So here we have 4 groups. Group 1, you have certain substances. Group 2, 3, 4. We need to pick the odd one out. Okay, let's see on what basis we can pick it. Group 1 contain tartaric acid, oxalic acid, ascorbic acid, nitric acid. Okay, I got it. So acids can be classified into 2 categories depending upon the source from which we are getting. That is organic or inorganic. In organic one are those which are obtained from plants and animals, and inorganic acids are obtained from minerals present in earth. Now tartaric acid is organic, oxalic is organic, ascorbic is organic, but nitric acid is the odd one out because it is inorganic in nature. Okay, let's move to group 2. Hydrochloric, nitric, sulfuric, carbonic. Now here all of them are mineral acids, so we cannot pick the odd one out depending upon their source. But definitely we can pick the odd one out depending upon their strength. That which one is strong or a weak acid. So basically strong acids are those which completely dissociate to form ion in water. And weak acids, they partially dissociate. That means they have undissociated molecules also present. So hydrochloric is a strong acid, nitric is a strong acid, sulfuric is a strong acid. Unfortunately, carbonic acid is the odd one out because it is a weak acid. It partially dissociates. Okay, group 3, zinc hydroxide, sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide. All of them are bases. Again, on the basis of strength, we can find the odd one out. Sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide are strong bases. They completely dissociate in water. But zinc hydroxide is a weak base. It partially dissociates. Okay, let's move on to group 4. Glucose solution, common salt solution, lemon juice. I hope you also got this right. Glucose solution and common salt solution, they are neutral in nature, neither acidic nor basic. But lemon juice contains citric acid. That means it is acidic in nature. So this one is odd one out between the neutral substances. Among the neutral substances, you have the citric acid, odd one out. So that means the option which carries nitric acid, carbonic acid, zinc hydroxide and lemon juice is the right answer. That is our option C. So this way you can actually find the answer. So whenever you have been given certain groups and you need to pick the odd one, please recall the concept, recall the classification and the properties, and you'll be able to find the odd one out very, very quickly and easily. So with this, we have come to an end. I hope my students have understood that how to, simplify the complicated problems and how to score good marks in any sort of exam, whether it is an Olympiad exam or whether it is any sort of exam. So if you will study thoroughly, if you are able to recall the concept, and one more thing, please don't get nervous after looking at the questions. You can do it. Believe me, you can do it. Okay, so thanks for connecting. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye. Best of luck for next time. Now we are going to start discussing the previous year biology questions. So let's start with it. The question says, observe the picture of the different parts of different plants in the box given below. Which of the following statements is true about all the given parts? And here we have the picture. As you can see the picture, it shows a stem cutting, a seed, a fern frond with spores, a leaf with leaf buds and a sucker. Now here it has been asked that we have to clearly observe this picture, the different parts which are shown here, and we need to tell that which of the following statements the statements are said in response to these pictures are true about all the given parts. Okay, now let me introduce you to the all parts shown here. A stem cutting. You all know stem is a part of the plant which grows towards the sun, right? And it holds the branches on it. And if I talk about seed, you know that seed is a reproductive unit of the plant. A fern frond with spores, You know that spores again can give rise to, a new plant. When they get favorable condition, they form new plant. A leaf with leaf buds, again leaf bud can also form new plant, because leaf bud is something, when it detaches from the parent plant, it falls down, and under favorable condition it can again form a new plant, because it can develop root also, it can develop shoot also. Now a sucker, you know that a sucker is you can say a slim portion, or you can say a sprout, which arises from the base of the plant, maybe a base of the plant or maybe a base of the stem. And when it gets detached, it can develop its own roots, and that is the reason it can also form new plant. Now the statements here given are, they can grow into new plants, and as we have already seen that all of them can form new plants. So this is true. Let's look at the second option. They depend only on the stored food for growth. No, all of them do not just depend upon the stored food for growth. They do not need air, water, sunlight to grow. Again, it is false. They need that. They all make food for the plant. No. We know that only the plants which are green, which carries chlorophyll, can photosynthesize and can make food for the plant. So all of them can give rise to new plants. Whether we talk about a stem, for example, if I talk about rose, how rose is propagated? It is propagated through stem. A seed is a reproductive unit. It can develop radicle and plumule, and obviously it can give rise to new plant. Spores, again, when they fall off, they can form new plant. Leaf buds can form, and even a sucker can form. So therefore, here in this question, option A is the correct answer. They all can grow into new plants. Next question says, the diagram shows the structure of a flower. So here we have a diagram, okay. Where do pollination and fertilization takes place? And here the options are given. You can see that option A, B, C, D. But before we go ahead, I would really like to explain you something about pollination and fertilization. See, all the plants which bear flowers, they reproduce by sexual method. Now, if I say sexual method, that means in them fertilization take place. What is fertilization? It is fusion of male gamete with female gamete. Okay. Now, in the flowers, we have got a male reproductive part and also we have female reproductive part. In this picture, these structures that you can see, it indicates the male reproductive part, and this one in middle, which you can see, the whole one, is the female reproductive part. Male reproductive part consists of filament. It has got an anther lobe, and in it there are pollen grains present. And if I talk about female reproductive part, it has got ovary, this is style, and this is stigma, and inside there are ovules. Like this. So once these parts gets mature, then what happened? Pollination take place. What is pollination? Pollination is basically transfer of pollen grains. From where? From anther, from here to here. That is from anther to stigma of the flower. It can be same flower, it can be two flowers of a same plant, or maybe it can be a flower of some other plant. Means the pollination can be self-pollination or it can be cross-pollination. Okay. And once the pollen grains get deposited on stigma, they develop pollen tube, and then this pollen tube grows day by day, and then this fertilization takes place. That is fusion of male gamete with female gamete, and as a result, what do we get? We get seed. As a result, what do we get? We get zygote, which finally develops into seed. Now here in this case, we need to tell that where do pollination and fertilization take place. So I hope for pollination it is clear that pollination obviously take place when the when the pollen grains from the anther move to the stigma of the flower. Okay, so that means pollination takes place at Y. Pollination takes place at Y because here Y indicates stigma. Y indicates stigma. So pollination occurs at Y. So that means the option which has X is wrong and which has Z is wrong. So we can go with option B or C, either of them. Okay, now let's look for the fertilization now. Now where does fertilization take place? I told you pollen grain get deposited on the stigma, then it develops pollen tube which goes inside the this thing ovary, and then what happens? The fertilization, that is fusion of male gamete and female gamete, take place. So basically it occurs in X, and X indicates ovary. X indicates ovary. So that means out of B and C, the one which has X option is correct. Therefore, which option is right here? Option B is correct. I hope you got the answer. Now let's move on to next. What causes the swelling above the girdle in the stem as shown in the figure Q? Now here it has been asked that you have got the figure. See, this is the figure, and we can see that in figure Q, like if you compare P and Q, you will see that this part is swollen. This part is swollen. So this has been asked here, that what causes the swelling? Why this portion is swelled? Now let me tell you, if I talk about girdling, or if I talk about girdle, what is it? It is basically cutting the complete part of the a stem, or you can say that removing the bark of the tree, completely removing the bark of the tree from its circumference. Now when we remove the bark, then what happens? It's phloem, sometimes it's xylem, that is the food conducting tissue and water conducting tissue, xylem, cambium. These all are removed. These all are removed when you do this. Now what happens when you remove these parts? Then the part which is above the girdle, the part which is above the girdle, that means this part, with time becomes dead, because it doesn't get the nutrients. So basically this swelling is caused due to, let's look for the options: obstruction in the movement of food traveling up the stem, obstruction in the movement of water traveling up to the stem, obstruction in the movement of food traveling down the stem, or obstruction in the movement of water traveling down the stem. So basically here it is due to obstruction in the movement of food traveling down the stem, because see, this stem and this stem is attached, they are connected artificially now. They are connected artificially because naturally you have separated them. So here the correct answer is option C. Okay, next question. Read the given list of steps. You have few steps given involved to test the leaves of the plants synthesize food. Okay, so that means we are conducting here the test to show that leaves of plants synthesize food, and food is in the form of starch, but these steps are in random order. So we need to select the option which has the correct order of these steps. Now before we go ahead, I would like to tell you something about photosynthesis. As you all know, photosynthesis is a process in which the green plants can make their own food. They can prepare their own food. Okay, now how they prepare their own food? Because of utilizing few raw materials, carbon dioxide, water, and they do have green pigment in them, that is chlorophyll, and also photosynthesis occur only in the presence of sunlight. Now when the part of the plant which is involved in photosynthesis is mainly leaves. Mainly they are leaves. Now leaves when make their food, the food is present in them in the form of starch. Food is present in the form of starch. Now in order to test that starch, whether it is present or not, or how to test that leaves are actually involved in synthesizing food, we do the iodine test. What do? We do the iodine test. So here few steps are given of iodine test. We need to put them in order. Now let me tell you the order here is, the first thing is this point 2, that is we leave a potted plant out in the sun for few hours so that it can prepare the food. Then what do? After that we pluck a leaf from the plant. We pluck a leaf from the plant to test it for the presence of starch. After that we boil the leaf. After that we dip the leaf in boiled water, this fifth part. And then what do? We boil the leaf in the alcohol, fifth, then followed by fourth. First we dip it in boiled water and then we boil the leaf in alcohol. By doing so, what we are doing, we are removing the chlorophyll. We are removing the chlorophyll from it, the pigment from it. And then what do? We wash the leaf and then add few drops of iodine solution over it. And when we do so, then what happens? Appearance of blue-black color indicates the presence of starch, which shows that leaves are actually involved in preparing the food, or we can say that leaves are the parts of the plant which can photosynthesize because they have that pigment. So here the correct option or the order is, first is 2 followed by 1, then 5th, then you have this, and then 3rd. So that means which option is the correct one? Option C has got the correct order. So I hope you got it, that how we can test the leaves of plants for the presence of starch in them. Okay, next question. How many of these plant seeds listed in the box given below are dispersed only by animals? Now here you have few basically plant seeds given, and we need to tell that which out of them are dispersed, like their seeds are dispersed only by animals. Now out of these, see, when you get the questions like this, you need to be well versed with all the examples, because if you will learn all the examples, then only you will be able to attempt this kind of question. So here the correct answer is, that is option A, that is xanthanum, guava and apple. These are the plant seeds which are dispersed only and only by animals. They are dispersed only and only by animals. Because we know that to disperse seed, we need following agencies. It can be birds. I'll write here. The agencies could be birds. Agencies could be water. Few seeds are dispersed through wind, and few are dispersed through animals. So basically through animals, which includes bird even, it includes xanthanum, guava and apple. Therefore, which option is right? Option A. Now please remember this, you will be able to perform these kind of questions only and only if you will get yourself well versed with the examples which are listed in your book along with the concept. So make sure you learn them. Okay, next question. When Nitish blown air through a plastic straw, okay, he is Nitish, he is blowing air through a plastic straw into a bottle. Okay, this is bottle and he is blowing the air inside. And this bottle contains freshly prepared lime water. Okay, what does it has? It has got lime water. Just simplify the statements when you get twisted questions. Then what happened? The lime water turned milky. Then what do we see? That it turns milky. Which of these gases in the blown air turned lime water to milky? Now let me tell you. Now here if we talk about, because he is blowing air. So we humans, when we inhale air or when we exhale air, I'll just explain. See, when we inhale air means you're taking in air. So when we inhale air, what do we take in? We take in oxygen. And when we exhale air, that means when you're giving out air. So we say that when we exhale air, what do we give out? We give out carbon dioxide. Now here, Nitish is blowing air. That means exhaling air. So that means exhaling air contains carbon dioxide. So I hope this is clear that option C is the correct one. Now let me explain you the concept that why this carbon dioxide turns lime water milky. Now see, all the gases, they have certain identification properties. Now if we talk about carbon dioxide gas, it has identification property, that is, when you treat it with lime water, when you pass it through lime water. What is lime water? Lime water is basically calcium hydroxide. Lime water is basically calcium hydroxide. So when you pass carbon dioxide through lime water, because when he is blowing air, he is blowing carbon dioxide and it is reacting with lime water. So when it reacts, what does it form? It forms calcium carbonate plus water. And due to formation of this calcium carbonate, lime water turns milky. Lime water turns milky. So this particular test is the identification test for carbon dioxide. So we can say here, because we have got clear cut test, because you are blowing air and lime water is turning milky. So that is a test for carbon dioxide gas. So option C is the correct answer. Okay, next question. Binary fission is observed in which of the following organisms? You have got three organisms listed: amoeba, euglena and paramecium. So we need to tell that binary fission is observed in which of the following organisms. Okay, now let me explain you something about binary fission first. Then you will get your answer directly. See, binary fission is one of the method of reproduction, asexual method. It is one of the asexual method of reproduction. When I say asexual, that means it doesn't involve any sort of fertilization. Now in binary fission, what happens? A cell grows in size. A cell grows, increases in size, and it has its genetic material also. Now what happens when it grows in size? Its cytoplasm increases, its size increases, and finally what happens? That its nuclear material also starts replicating, or you can say dividing. A constriction appears, followed by division of cytoplasm, followed by division of genetic material, and finally what do you get? You get two daughter cells. You get two identical daughter cells. Now it is said binary because you are getting two daughter cells. Bi or di means two. Fission means because you can see that a cell is breaking down to form two daughter cells. Now this kind of asexual reproduction is seen in all of them, that is in amoeba also, euglena also and paramecium also. So here the correct answer is option D. So please remember that binary fission is seen in all of them, that is in amoeba also, euglena also and paramecium also, where their cell divide to form two identical daughter cells. Next question. An animal pea have long and bushy eyelashes. Okay, so here we are talking about an animal pea who has got long and bushy eyelashes. That means his eyelashes is quite bushy one, long and bushy. Its feet are cushioned. Okay, that means its feet is just like a cushion. With twin-toed feet. Okay, identify animal P. So I hope you know this answer because it is none other than the camel. See, all the organisms, all the animals, they are well adapted to survive well in the given condition. So when I talk about adaptation, adaptation means the special features which are present in organism so that they can grow well, they can survive well in their given environment. Okay, for example, if I talk about polar bear, you know that polar bear can withstand such extreme winter conditions, but we cannot, because polar bear has got a thick fur on its body and he is adapted to survive well there. We can't survive, but polar bear can survive. So this is basically adaptation. Same way, we cannot live inside the water, but fishes can, because they have got certain features in them which enable fish to survive well inside the water. Same way, if I talk about camel, camel is a xerophyte. That means a desert living animal. And we know that in desert there is sand all around. I'll just write here, in desert there is sand all around, there is lack of water, there is no very less rains, there is lack of food even. Okay, so these all conditions, and extreme hot. How I missed this, extreme hot. So basically all these are the desert condition, and if camel wants to survive well in the desert, obviously all the desert animals, they have to have certain adaptive features in them, and that is the reason camel has got long bushy eyelashes to prevent the sand going inside his eyes, and feet are cushioned so that it can walk well on the sand and the feet doesn't get sink into the sand. So I hope you got it, and you are able to recall the concept of adaptation also. So here the option C is the right answer, that is camel, because camel is that animal P which has got long bushy eyelashes, feet are cushioned so that it can survive well, and even a camel can survive for many days without water and food, and to store that extra water and food, camel has got a big hump also. I hope you all know this. Okay, next question. Read the given information about a type of fiber X. Okay, information says fiber X is elastic in nature. It has high absorption capacity, water absorption. When burnt, it smells like burnt hair. Okay, so we need to identify the fiber and select the correct statements. So A option says X could be fiber from fruit of cotton plant. So if I say fiber obtained from fruit of cotton plant, that means I'm talking about which fiber? I'm talking about cotton. So cotton isn't elastic in nature. You can't stretch cotton. Like I'm wearing cotton, we cannot stretch that. Okay, it has high water absorption capacity, that's fine. When burnt, it smells like burnt hair. No, when you burn this thing cotton, it doesn't give you a smell like hair. So obviously this is no. It could be a fiber that is obtained from the stem of the plant. So as far as I can recall, jute is one of them which you obtain from the stem of the plant. Again, it is not elastic in nature. So all these characteristics doesn't belong to jute. Again, no to second option. X could be a fiber that is obtained from fleece of sheep. That means we are talking about wool. Yes, wool is that one, because wool is elastic also. You can stretch it. It has got high water absorption capacity also. And when you burn it, it gives you a smell of burnt hair because it is actually the hair of the sheep. Okay, D option, X could be fiber that is obtained from the flower. No, because from flower you get flax, hemp or cotton. So these all fibers, they don't have these characteristics that are displayed here. So the correct answer is option C. So we'll go with option C. That means this X fiber is wool because it is obtained from the fleece of the sheep. It is elastic also. It has high water absorption capacity also, and when it burns, it gives you a smell like burnt hair because ultimately it's a hair of sheep. Okay, next question. Identify the part labeled as X in the given figure. So you have this figure. We need to identify this X part. Now I hope you all can recall this figure. This figure is the figure which represents the tooth, which represents our tooth. So tooth actually has got certain parts. I'll explain you. This part is called as crown. This part is called as crown. Okay. When I talk about crown, crown is formed of enamel, and enamel is quite hard part of our body. Okay. Inner to it, what do you get? You get dentine. Inner to it is a dentine. A dentine is basically the part which forms the entire tooth, and inner to it there is a cavity which is called as pulp cavity. This pulp cavity contains lot of blood supply through blood vessels. It has got lymph vessels. It has got nerves. Okay, so this is a sensitive part of our tooth. So basically here we need to identify X. I think you got the answer. It is not enamel. it is not dentine, it is not crown, it is option C. That means it represents a pulp cavity which is very sensitive because it contains nerves, blood vessels, lymph vessels. So even this is the part from where the entire tooth is getting the nutrients. So with this, we have come to an end. I hope you understood all the questions that we discussed here. So for next time, make sure that you get all the answers right. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye. Best of luck.